This conference will now be recorded.
Hello, hi, my name is Jay Lee. Today I'm gonna explain about FSVP, which is Foreign Supplier Verification Program. I'm the CEO of J&B Food Consulting. I'm based in Fullerton, California. Nice to meet you, all of you today. And then I hope this presentation will help your importing food business. So J&B Food Consulting, we are in Fullerton, California, near Los Angeles, and we are helping food importer, food manufacturer to set up FSVP and FSMA programs. Also, we are providing PCQI, is a prevent control for human food, and then also FSVP certificate training, and also help set up FDA registration for bioterrorism or lowest can food, which is SID and FCE. Also, we providing label creation, also reviewing label, also providing GMP HACCP, FSMA PC rule, GFSI consulting. Also, some foreign company they're trying to build a food plant, manufacturing plant in US. Also, I help them to get licenses, providing engineering services as well. So, what is FSMA? We call FSMA. FSMA is acronym from Food Safety Modernization Act. It was established in 2011 when Obama administration was working on the food safety, this kind of overhaul for existing food safety regulation. And the goal is ensure that each food is meeting the same level of public health as a preventive control and produce safety regulation. Also, food is not should not be adulterated or misbranded. So FSMA is very broad and it's big shift from existing FDA regulation. So people say it's a big shift. For last 75 years, it's the biggest big changes in the history. So there are 7 categories of FSMA. It's very broad, so each area has also huge regulations and detail. So first one is prevent control for human food, started from September 17, 2016. Also, there is a new regulation for animal food, also produce rule and sanitary transportation, and then the FSVP, which is a Foreign Supplier Verification Program, and there is a third-party certification body, and last one is food defense. So each section has broad details of regulation, and FDA is still publishing all kinds of draft guidelines and hearing comments from industry and also all the experts. So these are 7 categories, but today I'm going to cover just FSVP today. So FSVP compliance date. So there are several criteria, and then small business starting from March 19, 2018, and some of the qualified facility, including very small businesses, starting from March 18, 2019. All the regular businesses this side already started from May 30, 2017. So already 2 compliance days are due. So still waiting for March 18, 2019. So all the food importers should should be compliant with those dates. So you don't have to wait for those compliance date. Just do regardless of this compliance date. So who is covered by FSVP rule? So FS importer is the US owner or consignee of food offered for import. Okay? If there is no US owner or consignee at the time of entry, FSVP importer in US will be US agent or representative. So physically, you have to assign some person for FSVP. Even if you are not physically in the US, you have to designate it for some person. So key point is there should be a food FSVP importer, and then he or she will be responsible for meeting the FSVP requirement. So there are several requirements. First requirement is FDA required qualified individual. We call QI. So QI is performing all required FSVP test. So QI must have education, training, or experience necessary to perform the FSVP activity. Also should be able to read and understand language of any record reviewing and performing the activity. So FDA allow outside expert for the QI. So some of these food importers are very small, so they don't have human resource to cover this area. So FDA allows outside expert like us, outside consultant can help food importer. So QI is the main role to manage all the FSP activity. So this is the first requirement. The second requirement is hazard analysis. So the key thing is all the food has certain kinds of hazard, biological hazard, chemical hazard, physical hazard. So perform hazard analysis that include identifying known or reasonable foreseeable hazard associated for each type of food and determining whether they require control. So there are three kinds of hazards. The first one is biological, mostly bacteria, parasite, disease-causing bacteria, those things. And chemical hazard, also including the radiological hazard, for example, pesticides or antibiotic drugs, residue, natural toxin, food decomposition, unapproved additive, food allergen. Sometimes for animal food, is nutrition deficiency or toxicity. Also, the physical hazards such as glass, metal pieces, or soil, rock, those are physical hazards. So you need to identify what kind of hazard is in the food. So you need to identify first, okay? And second one is evaluating foreign supplier. So from the requirement 2, you identify those hazards, and your supplier need to also identify, also control the hazard. So this stage, you need to evaluate risks posed by the food and performance of the foreign supplier. So your foreign supplier, they need to control those hazards, okay? For example, bacteria. Some food, pasteurizing food or cooking the food, the killing bacteria by heating process, right? Also, for example, food allergen is controlled by allergen program in manufacturing plant. Also, for example, physical hazard. If there's a metal pieces, it's controlled by metal detector or sometimes X-ray detector. So these hazards should be controlled by your foreign supplier, And then also you need to evaluate how your foreign supplier manage the food hedger, how effectively they control the hedger. Okay, so sometimes you need to evaluate based on foreign suppliers' food safety practice and procedures. Okay, also you need to investigate whether foreign supplier has some issue with FDA. So FDA website, they are providing some warning letter history or import alert. So you can check with the FDA website. Okay. So all of these consideration will be evaluated. Okay. So you need to identify the hedger, and then this stage you need to evaluate foreign supplier and how they manage the hedger. Okay. So mostly good company, they have food safety practice, and then also they have third-party audit certification. Most common certification is HACCP. Okay, HACCP is a little different from um, the U.S. FSMA prevent control for human food, but still that's a good foundation. Okay, so you need to verify all kinds of those certification. So you can verify, uh, also evaluate the food suppliers are equipped with good food safety practices. And the next one, so requirement 1 to 3. So you based on the hazard and you evaluating your supplier, and then supplier has good food safety system. You think your foreign supplier is managing to control the whole the hazard, and then you're importing the food, safe food. You're gonna approve the suppliers. Okay, so you need to keep the list of approved supplier. And then next one is verification activity. Once you approve the supplier, you need to do verification activity. So the legally whole reanalysis gonna be conducted every 3 years, or if there are any changes in product or certain manufacturing process. Otherwise, the big reanalysis is 3 years. But you need to still monitor how your supplier is doing. Okay, so most common thing what I see in the food importer, they skip this verification program. So there's some kinds of types of verification activity. So first one is annual on-site audit. Okay, so but you need to designate qualified auditor. Qualified auditor means who has education, training, or experience, or by the combination of those. They are qualified to audit the supplier. Okay, so this is the first one. But if you have so many numbers of supplier, you cannot visit all the suppliers, right? So this case, you can select it. You can or you can rely on third party auditor or second party auditor. So this is a one type of verification. The second one is sampling and testing. So you can randomly select sample and test food. So you can verify. Sometimes you're receiving certificate of analysis from a foreign manufacturer. Then you can test it, and then you can compare the result with your COA. Okay, so sometimes this sampling and test results can be from your suppliers as well. So this is a second option. And then another one, you can review suppliers' relevant food safety record. If you're suspecting certain, for example, pasteurizing cooking temperature, you can ask related document. So you can investigate how they manage the critical hazard. So it depends. Okay. Also other appropriate activity. So key thing here is you need to monitor ongoing. It's an ongoing process. Okay, once you approve the supplier, you need to verify they're still doing good. So this is very good element for the FSVP. And the requirement file. So others. So FDA needs corrective actions if there's some issue with product from first supplier. If there's some safety issue, you need to investigate it and then find the root cause. And then also you need to develop corrective action. It can be from your supplier. So you need to collaborate with your supplier and then prevent reoccurring problems. Okay, and then also you need to keep this auto corrective action in the record. Okay, and then next one is to re-evaluate the food and first supplier every 3 years or sooner if FSVP importer become aware of new information about the hazard, the food or foreign supplier performance. So if there are certain issues, changes, you need to re-evaluate food and foreign suppliers. Otherwise, every 3 years. Okay. And the last one is DUNS number. DUNS number means domestic universal number system. Right now, DNB, Dun and Bradstreet, the company issued the number free of charge. Okay, so this is the website. You can go to this link and then you can just apply for it for free. Okay, so this number is used by the custom broker. Your custom broker when they entering they're filing the custom broker things, they need to enter this number. Okay, so in order to keep FSVP responsibility, you need to apply for it, and then you need to provide the number to your custom broker. Okay. There are some exemption. First one is juice and seafood. They're exempt because they already have their own hazard method regulation. So 21 CFR 120 is juice HACCP, 123 is seafood HACCP. And then small quantity for evaluation or for R&D is going to be exempt. And then small quantity for personal consumption is going to be exempt. Also, lowest canned food is partially exempt. Some people misunderstand, but lowest canned food is handling about the biological hazard. So chemical and physical hazard are going to be covered by FSVP. Okay, and the certain alcoholic beverages exempt from FSVP. And then for food for transshipping, not consumed in US, just transit through the US is going to be exempt. And then return product to US, already produced, manufactured in US and export and then return to US is going to be exempt. Okay, and then certain meat, poultry, and egg product is those are regulated by USDA regulation, so those are exempt. Okay. Okay, so what kind of service JMB provide? We provide FSVP setup service, and also we can be your qualified individual. So you can providing ongoing FSVP activity and QA service, and then we provide label review and creation. One thing is year 2020 January. All the label should be changed to new format. So right side is new format, and the left side is the old one. So year 2020 January gonna be the for the change. Also, we provide FSVP certificate training, and then also PCQI is for your manufacturer, prevents control for qualified individual required for manufacturer. Also, we provide FSVP PCHF. It's for prevent control for human food. It's for your manufacturer side. So I'll help them your manufacturers set up all the required FSMA rule. Also, we provide FSVP software document management service. So if you conducting FSVP activity, it's a whole lot about documentation. So we develop certain software. So good thing is we can upload all the necessary document in one place, and then we provide QI evaluation service here. We leave our records here. So it's good because if you have multiple offices in US, also you have suppliers in different country, they can access through this software, and then they can upload it, and then easy to access, and then also if FDA come out, we can provide all the necessary documentation in good order. So this is very effective, efficient way to manage all the documents. Okay, so why JV Consulting? So I used to work in multiple US food manufacturing plant as a plant manager, food safety manager. So I know the industry practice, also regulatory as well. Also, JMB is good at foreign languages. So I speak Korean, then read and write Japanese. Also, my wife is Chinese. So we provide multiple languages. Good thing is, if you hire some uh, big company, sometimes they don't provide foreign language services. That means you have to translate all the document to English. So if you're receiving all the document from foreign supplier, some document, mostly documents are written in the native languages, so you need to translate it. But JMB's QI understand those languages. You don't have to translate, so save your time and money. That's good. Our point. And the expertise, I also teaching FSMA PC rule, FSVP produce rule. So that's my expertise. Also, I study doctoral level, and then currently I'm working at accreditation body. So my job is regarding FSMA. I am assessing the foreign certification body about the FSMA sector. So that's my expertise here. Also provide labor service, food safety plan, country manufacturing service, all the necessary required regulatory and food safety and engineering service. So you don't have to find all separate service. You can provide all the total package services from here. Okay. Okay, so actually FSVP is quite a long and very broad regulatory. I'm also providing FSVP course, a certificate course, 2 days, and then you will know more in the FSVP regular course. This is briefly just an overview of FSVP. So if you want to contact me, this is my contact information, my number, my email, my website. So visit the website and contact me if you need help, training, consulting, anything. Okay. So I'm in US. I'm here for you. Thanks for listening today, and I'm gonna upload other related video YouTube. So see you next time. Thank you.
This conference will now be recorded. This conference will now be recorded.